live, ECU?
Do you bleed purple and gold?
Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Watch the show live on Facebook
and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome into Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday, October 15th edition of the show. We are one day out from East Carolina taking on Tulsa. Yet another Thursday night primetime matchup, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. The Pirates looking to get back in the win column. 3-3 overall, 1-1 the conference. We'll tell you how they'll do that. I've dove into the numbers for Tulsa. Not the sexiest matchup in the world, but some intriguing things here to know going into Thursday. I'll tell you that here shortly. We will have James Giglio, Hoist the Colors intern, join us around 12:15-ish, 12:30-ish, and we'll get his take on some of the latest things happening in the college football world, his take on ECU. Obviously, he's a student at ECU. We'll ask him how the night of the Boneyard is going as far as, talk around campus, that sort of stuff. So looking forward to that with James Giglio. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you have a question, comment, concern, drop it there. As always, you can download the IBX Media app to get the latest archive on this show, the Patrick Johnson Show, Talk of the Town, the Logan Zone, and much more. Again, the Logan Zone, because of another Thursday night game, will be tonight, 5 to 7 p.m., and not in its usual Thursday night slot. So if you're wanting to listen to the Logan Zone, catch it tonight. And if you miss it, you can catch the archive through the IBX Media app. You can also catch this show archived on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. All right, Lane Smith's already in the chat. Sorry about your Phillies and your Eagles. Again, Lane, it's been a tough few weeks for you, but he is calling for a 46-14 ECU victory on Thursday night. Philip Pilkington back in the 94.3 The Game studios. And we were talking pre-show. The line is up to 17.5 in favor of the Pirates. Now, Bobby Harward will join us via online tomorrow for our game picks. And we'll make our official pick tomorrow. Really going back and forth, Philip, as we get closer to kickoff. Like 17.5 is a lot to cover. I think Tulsa's much improved. I'm just kind of having trouble with that number because it's certainly doable. The number is where it is for a reason, but Tulsa also is kind of scrappy too. So going back and forth on that number here. How about you?
Yeah, I think Vegas set this at a really good line, right? I mean, East Carolina's a better team, should win the football game, should win it pretty handily. I think it's going to come down to you have a kind of run of points, right? If you can go out there and where you can score 2 or 3 times in a matter of, say, 10 minutes, where you have a few explosive plays or maybe a defensive play that sets up a score, a defensive play that scores, you feel really good about covering that. If you don't have one of those things, I think it's 50-50 whether or not you cover, because this is a team who, is not going to get blown out from the opening punch. You were reading some numbers off to me before the show, which I'll let you read off to our listeners here. And, this is a team who's gone on the road to Stillwater and won it. Obviously this is probably the worst Oklahoma State team ever, but still at the end of the day, you're going on the road to Oklahoma State and defeating Mike Gundy. So, this is a team who's just not going to go roll over and give it to you. We know Trey Lamb teams do not do that. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But again, I think if you have a run on points there at some point, you feel good about it. If you slowly kind of crawl your way through this, you might find yourself winning, say 28-14.
John Moody says, not sure why I'm just feeling 28-24 ECU. This series is always close. It does feel like there's a lot of close games in this series. I feel like one of the last real blowouts was almost like the Ruff McNeil era. I remember Josh Hawkins pick 6, I want to say. But it does feel like these games usually come down to the wire.
I think John's got a little PTSD, and I can't blame him for saying what he's saying. It shouldn't happen, John, but I get what he's coming from. Like, you're right. I mean, how can you not feel that way with how many times we had burned we play these dorks?
Tulsa, Golden Hurricane, Pirates. We could not get our guy, Larry Lewis. He would not respond to my messages to try to get him on the show.
Larry,
so I'm
we're not going to yell at you that our bets haven't hit yet. It's okay. We still believe in your Golden Hurricane. At some point after this Thursday night, they will win their 3rd game, and I'll make our money.
I really thought we were friends with Mr. Lewis, but I guess not. He did follow me back on Twitter, but then he didn't respond to my message. He also didn't respond to my email. Larry, if you're listening, there's still time to come on the show.
I'm
Just
sure
let me know.
In.
We also reached out to one of their radio people, didn't get a response. So, look, we'll do our own Tulsa preview. I dove into the numbers, and I found some interesting things. All right, Tulsa, the last 4 games is what I really looked at. I mean, you can look at Abilene Christian. You can look at the second game of the year versus New Mexico State, which they lost. But I kind of threw those games out. Kirk Francis started the New Mexico State game, their former starting quarterback. He got injured, and they ended up losing the second half of that contest. But the last 4 games, Navy, Oklahoma State, Tulane, and Memphis. Here are some things that stood out to me. Specifically, we'll start with early in the game. All right, Navy, the opening drive. Now, they were a little fortunate. They got a turnover, but opening drive, 5 plays, 35 yards, touchdown, 17 first-half points, only 6 second-half points. At Oklahoma State, opening drive, 6 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, 16 first-half points, 3 second-half points. Tulane, opening drive for Tulsa, 7 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. They scored 14 first-half points in that game, 0 second-half points. And then at Memphis, the one game they did not score on their opening drive in the last 4, obviously a scripted series. Trey Lamb, offensive mind, no surprise, they're having success there. They go 3-and-out against Memphis, and they did not score until the second quarter, but they did find the end zone on that drive for 7 first-half points. They did not score any second-half points in the Memphis game. So all in all, over the last 4 games, 54 first-half points, 9 second-half points, including 0 second-half points in the last 2 games. So they've been very much a first-half team. They've been very much an opening script team, having success on that. Now, one thing to keep in mind for the Memphis game, they brought back Francis from injury. He started. He struggled. Baylor Hayes played against Navy, Oklahoma State, and Tulane. He is the East Tennessee State transfer quarterback, came over with Lamb from ETSU. Younger player, a little bit more mobile, so they're going to go with Hayes at ECU. He'll get the start according to Coach Lamb. So pretty obvious success rate here, Philip. First half has been a lot of success at times, especially that first drive. Second half, not so much. So if you're East Carolina here, you kind of know the importance of at least trying not to let them get off to a good start. But also, if they do go down and score on the opening drive, I'm not going to be panicking because of the numbers I just read. You'll have to make your adjustments, but that's something to keep in mind, at least heading into Thursday.
Yeah, and the minute that you start coming back, if you do get down early, they're sitting there on their sidelines going, oh no, here we go again. So it's very much a mental thing when those kind of things happen over and over and over again. Little off-topic point here, Stephen, but you mentioned the last Tulsa blowout. So, the last one came in 2019 when they blew us out 49-24. But when you talk about East Carolina victories, 2015 it was a 13-point game, 30-17. 2016 a little more, 47-32. You go back to 2013, and it was 58-24. So I think that was the game you were referencing there. That was quite the blowout in favor of the Pirates. That game was played right here in Greenville. So it has been a while since it's really been a handled win. Obviously, only a 7-point victory a year ago out in Oklahoma.
Yeah, and we'll see. Good stats there, and it's just Tulsa always seems to place Utah, even dating back to when these two teams were independents and not in the Conference USA or the American. It seems like there was some very competitive games. So we'll see. We'll make our official pick tomorrow. All right, some further numbers here. Baylor Hayes, their quarterback, I mentioned he didn't start versus Memphis. Going back to him as the starter, young guy. One thing that stood out to me from Pro Football Focus, he is not graded out well as a passer. Their strength has been running the football. They have a running back, Dominic Richardson, from Oklahoma State. He'd also spent time at Baylor, I believe, multi-time transfer. He's kind of their bell cow running back, but passing the football, and Coach Lamb has said this in his press conference this week, he's like, it's just been a disappointment. If you look at the PFF numbers, Baylor Hayes has had one big-time throw, and this is according to PFF, one big-time throw, which is considered NFL caliber throw, against 9 turnover-worthy plays in 4 games. So one thing to keep in mind here, they are coming off an open date. He's been getting all those reps, I would assume. I think he's got a chance to grow coming out of that Memphis game. But this is a game that ECU should be able to. The other thing is should be able to force some mistakes, Philip, because the other thing is their offensive line is not great. Similar to ECU's offensive line in some ways. They have to do a lot of play action, a lot of rollouts to try to slow down the pass rush. This is a game that ECU, if they get them behind the chains, should be able to feast up front. Tulane did. I would expect to see the likes of J.D. Lampley, Zion Wilson, some of those guys in the backfield, if the Pirates can get them in advantageous situations for themselves.
And you're going to have to be successful in that because you mentioned the open week for the quarterback to calm down, but that was an open week for Trey Lamb to draw up some plays in the dirt. We know his ability to scheme guys open, and even if the quarterback's maybe not making great plays, if you can scheme a guy open and he's wide open, you expect your Division I college football quarterback to go out there and make that play. So I think you're going to have to get home in this one. You got to be a little creative on the some things, whether we go with our NASCAR package and try and just be faster than their offensive line, whether we have some TE stunts or just some other things that can get us home and get to this quarterback. Because again, like you said, if he's throwing under pressure, you like your ability to make some plays on the back end is there. Sometimes, I know the interceptions go down as a credit to just the guy who makes the play, but sometimes you got to credit the defensive line, and I think this is a game where our defensive line can earn some turnovers for the guys on the back end.
East Carolina heading into 7:30 kickoff on Thursday night. We got some comments here as the Pirates get ready to play the Golden Hurricane. Corsair says East Carolina has not lived up to their preseason potential this year. Mistakes, penalties, and offensive line play has hurt them. Yeah, Bryce Weaver, right tackle. Something to keep in mind with the offensive line. I think we forget. You go back to spring ball. At that time, you expected to have former Houston transfer Carson Jones start at center.
Yep.
He goes out with a knee injury midway through spring. You can't really replace guys. There's a post-spring portal window, but if you're East Carolina, yeah, there was. You just don't have the funds to go out and outbid the limited player availability. So that's a huge loss. Jacob Sacre was at one point in the spring. He was expected to come back, potential starting guard. He goes down with an injury. He is now, helping out in a coaching capacity. He had to basically medically retire. You bring in one of the guys you brought in the spring, Drew McCullough, Presbyterian center transfer. He goes down with a season-ending injury. Now Bryce Weaver, your right tackle, foot surgery. He's probably out at least a month. So, look, I'm not trying to make excuses, but the reality is if you're East Carolina, you lose 3-4 starting offensive linemen for a significant amount of time, you're just going to have to patchwork it, man. It's just even to begin the season, you're not in great shape. And unfortunately, they've been kind of hit with some bad injuries. You lose Carson Jones at center, Phillip. That causes you to shift Darius Bell, who was going to play guard or tackle, to center. It just caused like a ripple effect. So I'm not making excuses, but I do think there is a reason why it's been inconsistent up front.
Yeah, I agree. And, I think it's even tougher maybe at the college level than the pro level as well, at least in the pro level. You got those joint practices, right? And you got preseason games to get some of these guys who start the year as a number 2 reps, especially on that offensive line. A lot of these guys just haven't had a lot of game reps under their belt, and that makes it tough. As well as, look, we talk about with injuries, it's the next man up. Well, a lot of times, if you're an offensive line coach, you're really happy if you trust 7 guys. And that's a good place to be in. And when it's the next man up to the next man up to the next man up, it becomes a little bit tougher. You saw it a lot last year with the Detroit Lions down that stretch when they had 23 guys on injured reserve. It finally caught up to them there in the divisional round, and Washington kicked their rear end. So, and I'm not saying East Carolina's quite in that boat. I know that was an extreme case scenario, but it's easier said than done sometimes. And like you said, it's tough. And game by game, you got to get guys reps. You're starting guys in week 6 who have never had a college football start, and things don't go well. Well, it's not like you had any preseason games to get in there and play. So you're going to have to piece this thing together week in and week out, and sometimes drive in and drive out. And unfortunately, it's a hand we were dealt, and we're just going to have to figure it out.
All right, a couple comments here. We'll get a break in. I have some more things to look at Tulsa defensively on the other side. But Robert saying, I believe Tulsa is starting the running quarterback in order to slow our pass rush down, seeing how we play against Tulane, BYU, and State, containing our weak DB coverage when quarterbacks have time. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Trey Lane basically said Kirk Francis, their other quarterback, could be good if he had the right pieces around him, but basically they need Baylor Hayes in there because he can run around and create some things on his own. So that's a facet of Thursday's game to watch. Kenny Curling's saying we really need this win for the Pirates and the fan base. I'm going on and saying that the Pirates will beat Tulsa like a bag of ice. Can't say I've heard that one recently. So Kenny going with the big Pirate win. Newton asking, do we feel good about ECU covering 17.5? Newton, we addressed that to start the show. I think we're both kind of torn. We'll make our official pick tomorrow. 17's a lot, but I think ECU can get it done if they play to their potential, which is a massive if. And I think Tulsa can certainly cover it if they play to their potential. So we'll discuss that more tomorrow as far as picking against the spread. When we come back, I'm going to tell you about a few guys to know on Tulsa's defense. Their defensive ratings, surprisingly really good. They've got two of the best players in the league at corner and at edge rusher. I'll tell you about them, and we'll discuss how the Pirates can find a way to mitigate the challenges they create on Thursday. So we'll be right back. Hoist the Colors continue on after this.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Welcome back into the show. Wednesday, October 15th, the day out from ECU and Tulsa. Inside Dowdy Ficklen Stadium, it'll be a 7:30 kickoff Eastern Time on ESPN. So we're talking ECU and Tulsa. We hit some offensive notes in the first segment. James Giglio will join us here in a little bit. We'll ask him from a student perspective how things are going with the Night of the Boneyard and all that, and we'll get into a little bit of everything in the sports world. But for now, we dive further into ECU Tulsa. Philip Pilkin back in the 94.3 The Game studios. So a few things that stand out about Tulsa defensively, kind of a weird unit. The defense, if you look at Pro Football Focus grade rating overall, ranks 7th nationally. Now, what that means is PFF is essentially rating how often their guys are either A, in the right position, or B, winning one-on-one battles. So they have some very good players. But if you look at their overall defensive metrics, they're 92nd out of 136 teams in stop rate, which means how often are they getting off the field without giving up points. So they give up a lot of points, but they have some individual talent. And two of those guys who really impressed me, cornerback Elijah Green, 6'2", 195, press cover corner, one of the better corners in the American. He already has 5 interceptions. And then their edge rusher, Jaden, I guess it's Jaden, is J apostrophe Dan, Jaden Burnett, 6 foot 250, not the longest guy in the world, but extremely quick and powerful. He has an elite PFF pass rush grade of 91.3. That's on the scale of 0 to 100. And he's already got 15 pressures, including 6 sacks. He took over, I believe, the Oklahoma State game with 5 pressures alone in that game. So, look, premium positions in the NFL college football, I would say defensively, cornerback and edge rusher are each a premium position. Tulsa has a guy at each of those spots. That worries me if I'm an offense, because an edge rusher and a corner can change the game. So how do you prepare? How do you try to combat that? Well, obviously you take your chances when you want to throw at the corner, and then with the edge rusher you have to chip or double team when you can. So, Philip, when you hear that, Mr. Burnett and Mr. Green on Tulsa's side, two guys who can potentially change the game, if you're John David Baker, how are you approaching this one on Thursday?
Start with the edge guy because it's kind of the easiest point. Like you said, you're chipping, and then also what you're doing is when your backs are in pass pro, you want your offensive line maybe to have a way where he's the extra help on the side of the edge rusher who's really good. When it comes to the corner, there's a few different ways to do this, and a lot of it depends on how well they play him. Does he follow your number one? Does he stay to one side of the field? Does he always play where there are less offensive players, right? So I could go in depth, I guess, and go long on each of those. But, say he's always on your number one or always on a specific side of the field or whatever. If you can find a way to get trips maybe to the boundary and have him out there by himself to the field, make him be on a true island. See if he's Darrelle Revis good is how you can do it sometimes. Now, the tough thing is if he is, you've kind of got a cluster on the other side of the field because you got trips to the boundary, and that's a recipe for disaster. So that's one of the things you can do. The other thing is if you feel like he's in a zone, motion towards him and make him make a decision. Of course, he's going to play a lot of man, but a lot of pre-snap motion towards him can affect you. And then there's just a lot of ways. Like I said, a lot of it depends on what he's doing. If he's staying with your number one guy, you hate to do this, but maybe your number one guy just isn't the guy this week, and you just kind of, I wouldn't say admit defeat over there, but maybe call it a push, and you don't throw the ball over there, you don't have success, he doesn't have success, and you look other ways, because I do feel like, to your point, it's not a phenomenal all-around defense, it's solid, but your guys everywhere else, hopefully you can win some of those one-on-ones against guys other than him.
Couple things with the corner, Elijah Green. He had 2 interceptions versus Memphis, and he had 2 picks versus Navy. In those games combined, he was targeted 6 times. So he finished with 4 picks on 6 targets. He also had an interception against Abilene Christian. So you just got to be careful when targeting him. He's not unbeatable. He has given up 18 receptions on 29 targets, which is a decent reception rate allowed, and he's also committed 2 penalties. From what I understand and from what I've watched, he can get very handsy. Obviously, as a bigger corner, he's going to grab and pull and all that and push. So, again, how much do the officials let these corners play? Because, I was talking about this with my dad last night. He made a good point. He's like, it's almost like a pitcher. To start the game, you kind of want to work a little bit off each side of the plate and see what the umpire will give you. I think if you're a DB in the American right now, you want to start off being as physical as possible, like Tulane was, see what they'll give you, and then adjust from there. I'm fine. If you're going to commit a PI penalty, I'm fine with it happening early in the game when you're trying to figure out how they're going to call it. And if they don't call it, you be as physical as you want to until they do. So I thought Tulane played the ECU game the right way because they weren't being called, and, man, they were early on just about every tightly contested pass, and the conference officials let it go. So if I'm ECU, I want to see – look, I don't think Tulsa's receivers are all that impressive. I want to play some more physical coverage as well. And, you have to be careful to a degree with that because ECU doesn't have too many 6'2", 195-pound corners like Elijah Green, but – The referees and how they call it dictate a lot of this.
They do, and if it's Tulsa and East Carolina, that's probably just going to go whatever Tulsa's way is. So I guess it's not going to matter. But the thing is, though, if say they're letting them play, let's just hypothetical here, they're letting them play. A lot of times when you play, you get more physicals in man coverage, right? So the benefit to East Carolina is, I think, our receiving core, top to bottom, is better. Yes, they've got the lockdown corner that we don't have. But if we think that our corners are equal to their receivers, you can feel good if you're physical. And then if you're East Carolina and you're on offense, yeah, you might be losing the battle on one side of the field, but whichever Smith he's not on, you're feeling pretty good. If they're going to get up there and get in his jersey and try and wreak havoc, I trust one of those two guys to kind of blow by whoever else is guarding them, and maybe that's an opportunity for some shot plays. You can force your opponent to be over-aggressive if they know that the officials are going to let them be aggressive and let them play.
Yeah, looking at some of the other corners that have played significant snaps for them, Champ Lewis, J.D. Drew, both have solid metrics, but nowhere near what Green has, and both of them have given up some big plays, including a touchdown apiece. So I am interested to see, how does Tulsa approach it? Is it a formation? I haven't watched, admittedly, enough of them to know, is he a boundary corner? I assume with that size, he's probably sticking to the boundary more times than not, where he can help in the run game as well. But does he follow, like you said, the top? And who even is ECU's top receiver right now? Like, I guess Anthony Smith, but I think they're different. But from game to game, you just don't know, man.
Yeah, it's not like we've got, what's the kid's name at Ohio State? I always blank out. Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, you don't have that guy. So there's no, and also again, I just think, honestly, and Brock's been so solid. Yeah, he's definitely the slot guy. He's not the number one, and they're going to have their slot nickel guy on him. But, anybody can be the number one at any time in this offense. I think so. That's what can make this offense so versatile if they can, put four quarters together. And it's what has made the offense so versatile in times in which they're having success. So that does make it tough. Like you said, they may play him to the boundary a lot, and that's another one of those things where if they're going to put him in the boundary, do you then, again, put like three guys in the boundary against him, and then do you trust the one-on-one maybe on the backside, because that's going to put him in probably more of a zone situation. If there's 3-by-1 and it's 3 to the boundary, you're probably going to have more of a man opportunity on the backside, and then do you trust whatever Smith is on the backside to go out there and make a play against J.D. Drew, phenomenal outfielder for the Boston Red Sox, World Series champion in 2007, or whoever the other kid is.
J.D. Drew, yep, not the same one. It looks like this one transferred in from Utah State, so
maybe he had
not
eligibility
quite the
left.
same.
Maybe this is his COVID year, went back. I mean, you can get paid and go back and still play college football,
This
right?
is true. Former MLB outfielder J.D. Drew, namesake. All right, a few more comments here. We'll get a break and get James Giglio on the other side. Johnny Stats says some random stats. Tulsa's cornerback Elijah Green, the man we're talking about, has 4 interceptions in only 2 American games. No other player has more than 1 conference interception.
Wow.
And he also adds that Tulsa has 7 runs of 20-plus yards. The Pirates only have 2. Yeah, ECU still lacking in the explosive run category. Speaking of that, Alan West says, who are we starting at running back? Alan, no idea, bro. Do the coaches even know at this point is the real question. I'm sure they do.
It's going to come down to, I think right now, it's going to come down to personnel groupings, right? It's going to be a little bit how you script those first 10 plays, but it's going to come down to whether or not you get the ball first. You have different things on your play sheet depending on where you start the drive. If this is a drive where you start, say you force a punt, you defer, you force the punt, and you're starting right at midfield or maybe the minus 45, you could have a different play call than if you take a touchback on the opening play of the game and you're coming out at your own 25. So depending on what that play call is, it's all going to come down to personnel. I don't think they have a known starter. I think it's going to be a personnel reason and a play call that's going to determine what back actually sees the first snap tomorrow night.
One thing I did think was interesting was on the final drive, obvious passing situation, it was Parker Jenkins in at running back.
Yeah.
So I guess he is your best receiving back. At least that's what the staff deems. He obviously did make a nice play on that little catch to begin the series, but he was also in there. Usually your guys are in there not only for receiving but pass protection. And so clearly they think Jenkins at this point is the best receiving back or pass pro back. So just wanted to make that observation as he was in there for that. All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, we'll continue to hit your questions, so drop those. We'll also get James Giglio in as well. We'll talk as we get a nice snapshot of Giglio. We'll talk James after this. We'll get his take on his New York Jets, the state of their sad franchise as they get ready to host the Panthers. They lost to my Broncos. We'll get his take on the MLB as well. And also ECU heading into the night of the Boneyard game. This is Hoist the Colors on a Wednesday.
Storm season is approaching. North Carolina weather can damage your roof, and before long, a small leak can turn into a big problem. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so protect it with Wells Home Improvements.
We work with all insurance companies for a hassle-free roof installation experience. Call us today and get 10% off your roof installation when you mention this commercial.
252-227-8403 or visit us online at wellshomeimprovements.com. Wells Home Improvements. Local, honest, dependable.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Pirates play here. Arr! This is Hoist the Colors Radio with Steve and Igo.
Yes! That was so good!
On 94.3, The Game.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors, a day out from ECU Tulsa on another Thursday night. It is Wednesday, October 15th. We've talked a lot of Golden Hurricane Pirates matchup. We dove into some of the best players for the Golden Hurricane to watch out for, and we can answer more of those questions if you guys got them on YouTube, Facebook, etc. But right now, we're going to be joined by James Giglio, Hoist the Colors intern, who is back on the show, fresh off fall break, and we may be having some audio difficulties with James. We'll see if we can hear from him real quick. James, can you hear us? Say something. We'll see if we can hear you. Looks like we're not picking up.
Yeah, you must
James's
have connected
audio.
your headphones after you signed into vMix. vMix is finicky like that. Just exit out of your browser and then come all the way back in, and it should work like that. So we'll just go to the two-shot of me and Igo right now while James gets it figured out. This thing's finicky. It works good, but it's just a little finicky sometimes. It's got a mind of its own. It's like a Herbie race car.
These students, they go on fall break and they return. They don't know how to do anything.
Hey, to be fair, I might have messed that up on Henry's show this morning too when we first met. James, can we hear you now? James, buy new headphones. Are headphones on?
Still no James. Try exiting out of your browser, vMix, the software we use, and re-logging back in. And if that doesn't work, we may have to call you. So give it one more shot and adjust your audio settings. Because vMix, the technology we use, is very finicky. But, he's basically just pulling a Justin Fields right now, just trying again and again and again, and can't get the job done.
I know, man. His technology use is about as well as fellow Jets fan Joey Football, who we know can't plug in a phone charger. So that's about how good Joe is at technology. It must be a Jets fan thing.
It's a Jets fans thing. I mean, they just follow right in line with their team. All right, while we wait for James, let's give it one more shot, James.
All right, James, I'm calling you.
Still nothing. All right, we're going to call you. We're going to get you James over the phone. Good try. All right, we did have a question from Joel Hancock I wanted to address. He asked, does something seem off between Hauser and the receivers? Timing, accuracy, sloppy routes, something seems off this year independent of O-line play. What I noticed watching the Tulane game, Joel, was ECU left some yards and some points on the field, specifically with kind of a miscommunication there as, to me, like Anthony Smith and Caden just weren't on the same page. I want to say it was either back-to-back series or a couple series in the second half. All I know is that RPO routes, they're trying to read the conflict defender and the safety, and there was a time where Caden threw it inside and Anthony broke outside and up the field, and if Caden would have threw it up the field, it would have probably been a touchdown. And then there was another route where they were on the same page, and Caden threw it inside as well, and that ended up being incomplete. You kind of see the frustration between the guys not being on the same page, and that's part of this offense. It is, you have option routes, you have RPOs. I mean, there is a lot on the players in this offense to make the reads as the play is unfolding. So I do think those are things that they'll have to continue to clean up, and that goes back to the mistakes of being unable to capitalize on the opportunities. So I just want to answer that. All right, I think we have James Giglio over the phone. James, can you hear us?
I can hear you still. Can you hear me?
We got you.
Right,
you know what? We just want to hear your voice anyways. We don't care about seeing your face. So appreciate you joining us. Hey, Hoist the Colors intern James Giglio, longtime contributor to the show. Now, you guys were just on fall break, so I don't really know how much you can answer this question, but like Night of the Boneyard, it's all about the students. We know Thursday night games are tough for the average adult fan to get to with kids out of town. So, like, is there any buzz on campus about Night of the Boneyard? Are they doing anything to promote this?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot of buzz. You know what? I mean, I know a lot of students are excited about the game because it's a football game. A lot of students are ready for a Saturday game, though. I'll tell you that. We're tired of these Thursday games. But yeah, besides that, not a lot of buzz. I haven't really heard anything. But then again, it was just fall break. So, I mean, I was away. But, I mean, some of my friends have been talking about the game that care about football. So that's something I feel like.
What is the approval rating of the new helmet?
Oh, I love the new helmets. I actually meant to text you the other day and say I was a major fan of the new helmets. I love the purple. I love the script. I'm a big fan.
James Giglio, a big fan. I do have to say, I don't know why we're just not wearing that. I'm not trying to complain, but I'm just like, it is a blackout game. Can't we just wear the black script helmets with the black unis and break this one out on another night? I don't know, but I know from what I hear, they're breaking out the old school ECU logo for the homecoming game. So I think that'll be a new helmet as well. So that'll be fun. But yeah, alternate helmets this year, fun stuff. What are the vibes like, James? You're obviously covering the team with us on Hoist the Colors. Kind of your thoughts on ECU to this point. 3-3. I think we all in the Hoist the Colors staff called a close loss to Tulane. And so not necessarily surprising, but obviously disappointing how it played out. Just what was your take on that game?
Take on that game and really take on the whole season is, I mean, they've just lost the games that people have predicted them to lose, and they've won the games that they've been supposed to win. I think one of those 3 games that they lost would have been, before the season we were talking about if they can just win any of those 3 games, it could be a really good season. The Tulane one especially, because that's a conference game. And, they had it until the very end. Tulane marched down the field and scored. And then even at the end of the game, Tulane kind of gave them a chance, by scoring. I thought they were going to just kneel the ball out or kneel the clock out and take a game-winning kick. And they end up scoring. And I thought ECU should have let them score on the play before, but they didn't. So, that lost like 30 seconds or whatever it was. Nonetheless, they still end up losing, and the defense played well, I thought, the whole game. The offense was pretty pathetic in the first half, but they turned it on the second half. I really liked that onside kick call from Blake Harrell. I thought, that was ballsy, I thought. And I was watching it from the airport, and I thought, it's just another ECU loss. I felt like it was another game where it was right there to win, and they end up losing. And even that's how the state game went. And even with the BYU game, even though they lost by more, a couple scores, I felt like in that first half of that game that there were some real opportunities there. So, just another. And there's another chance coming up with Memphis too, who's ranked and undefeated. I don't know if they'll be undefeated by the time they play ECU, but it's another chance coming up. It's a home game in a couple of weeks, so we'll see how that one goes. But overall, just some pretty mediocre 6 games so far for me.
James Giglio with us, Hoist the Colors intern student at East Carolina. So you'll be in the stands on Thursday night, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so apparently I'm covering the game solo. I can't get any interns to cover with me outside of Chris, who's also working for 94.3 The Game. So we'll see what I can do. I may have to steal him, Philip, for a little bit on Thursday. These Thursday games, I guess it's just tough to get to, even for the students.
Yeah, I'm telling you, a lot of people are ready for a Saturday game. This has been ridiculous, and we started with the Thursday game, so.
Yeah, one of our other part-time guys, William Grover, was complaining a couple weeks ago. He had to produce the game, which he didn't mind doing. The problem was he had 9 a.m. class after having to produce it. That's the tough thing. If we're going to have Thursday games, we just need to write it in as like a school holiday. And I don't know if we got to go an extra day at the beginning or an extra day at the end or whatever it is. But no class after Thursday games needs to be the new thing.
Yeah, do you have to go to class Friday, James?
Friday? Yeah, I do have to go to class. I got a class at 11. And I don't mind a Thursday game, like 1 or 2 every year, but 4 in a row, all of October, Thursday games. This is like prime college football time, and we can't get one Saturday game.
Well, the good thing is we get to watch prime college football. We get to watch the Red River rivalry. This is the 3rd Saturday in October. We get to watch Bama, Tennessee.
Indiana, Oregon was pretty good too.
Yeah,
so.
That didn't disappoint at all.
I guess that's the bright side of things.
East Carolina is a 17.5-point favorite over Tulsa. James, do they cover 17.5? What do you think?
Obviously ECU is going to be the better team. Last year, they ended up only winning by, I think it was 7 on the road at Tulsa. And I feel like ECU-Tulsa always gets kind of weird. Right now, I feel like they're going to win and cover, but I'm not taking anything off the table with Tulsa coming into town.
All right. Other news going on in college football. James Franklin fired. I feel like we've texted about, you and Brady Thomas have texted about the ineptitude of James Franklin and Penn State for a month now, and we were all like, this is probably his final game. He gets fired. What was your take on that?
Yeah, it was a long time coming. He really got fired for not winning the big games. And, UCLA and Northwestern, 2 teams that are absolutely terrible in the Big Ten, cherry on top. Really, that sent him out of State College, Pennsylvania. And, I don't think it was surprising. I think it was maybe surprising that they didn't went to the end of the year and Drew Aller got hurt. So that was also another thing for Penn State. Just dark times for Penn State right now. And this was a season that a lot of people were coming into, including me, who were like, yeah, this team can win the national championship. They have a lot of returning production. They brought in Jim Knowles, one of the best defensive coordinators in the country. And Drew Aller was projected to be a first-round pick quarterback. 2 great running backs. Their defense, again, electric. So just a crazy fall from grace. And, it was like 3 weeks ago. They were on game day. They were the number 2 team in the country. They were playing Oregon. They actually were leading that game in overtime. And, I just think just 18 days later, their coach was fired, and they're 3-3. So, and no wins over a power school. So just a crazy fall from grace for Penn State. And it'll be interesting to see who they get. I think the coaching carousel that this is going to start is going to be kind of one we saw a couple years ago with Nick Saban retiring. James Franklin will end up somewhere, I think maybe at school like Virginia Tech right now. or maybe a school in the Carolinas, UNC, NC State. We'll see. But right now, it'll be interesting to see who Penn State gets and what kind of coaching carousel it stirs up.
I was going to ask, like, the names I'm hearing thrown around, just, I guess you had to make a change because you just had to for the reasons we just talked about. But, like, a lot of talk about Matt Rule, and I get he played there. But, like, Matt Rule hasn't beaten a ranked team since he was at Temple in 2016. He didn't beat a ranked team at Baylor. He obviously has not been able to win the big one at Nebraska. So, like, I just don't see Matt Rule as an upgrade. You know, Matt Campbell, I think, would be interesting because he's done a lot with very little over time at Iowa State. But is he going to leave Iowa State? I don't know. And you know, are they going to be able to pluck Cignetti from Indiana? I don't know, Philip, but what are you thinking on, like, is there a big name they can make that they can get hired that makes everybody happy?
I think they're going to have to take a chance on a guy, and he's just going to have to hit. Might be a guy the Pirates have seen in the last 6 days. You know, he was in running for the Carolina job. I don't think maybe that's the right hire, but I also think it wouldn't totally surprise me. You know, the tough thing is I just don't think Spencer Danielson is quite ready to move on from Boise State yet. You know, it took why am I drawing a blank on his name right now, who's the coach when Kellen Moore was there. Chris Peterson, it took him a while, a handful of years of success there. Same thing with Brian Harsin. So you usually don't see guys jump up that quick. But, you know, who knows? It could be interesting. But, yeah, like you said, I think they're going to try and get another power guy, like some of those names you mentioned, where teams are having success at the Power 4 level.
Who do you think they ultimately hire, James Giglio? And obviously your father covered NC State for a long time. What's he hearing on Dave Doran with the Wolfpack?
I believe this is going to be Dave Doran's last season. That's just what the kind of the word is around Raleigh right now. Whether he gets fired or ends up retiring, I think they'll let him walk. I think it'll be best for both sides. But right now, I think the word around Raleigh is they expect a new coach in 2026. And for Penn State, my first thought was Cignetti, but I mean, I don't know. He's just such an oddball that I don't know if they're going to be able to poach him. Another name I saw that they could take a stab at is Marcus Freeman, but I don't know how much of an upgrade, or not an upgrade, but I don't know if Marcus Freeman would leave Notre Dame because I don't know if Penn State's that much of a better job than Notre Dame. But right now, if I had to make a prediction, maybe Ohio State offensive coordinator Brian Hartline. He's had very good luck with receivers. He's been very good with receivers at Ohio State. Maybe he's a younger guy. Maybe he can bring that to Penn State.
Would Penn State fans be okay with Brian Hartline? I'm going to say no.
I think they would. I think
Yeah.
I think it'd be
so?
a breath of fresh air. They're stealing someone from Ohio State, so that's a win. I think you got to give him a couple years. I don't see why they would not be happy with him. I mean, maybe they're not be happy because they want a big name, and Penn State's like a top 5, top 10 job in the country. Not easily top 10, but potentially top 5 job in the country. So, I mean, they might not satisfy some at most, but I think he'd be a breath of fresh air, and the fact that you're taking someone from Ohio State is a kind of a extra thing there.
The funny thing is he played there, too. Hartline played at Ohio State, so the fact they could poach a guy who played at Ohio State and coaches there, I think they'd really love that.
Yeah.
Well, if they hadn't just poached Jim Knowles, like you said, the best DC in the game, and still have this letdown from Ohio State, then maybe I would feel different. But it'll be interesting regardless. Like you said, it's going to create a giant domino effect no matter what direction it heads in. All right, we got to get a break in. We'll come back. We'll get James's take on NFL MLB because his Jets are abysmal. They play Phillips Panthers this week. They just beat the Broncos, or they should have beat the Broncos, so the Broncos won. But we'll get his take on that. Also, the playoffs. Continuing on Major League Baseball, we'll get a break in. We'll come back. Hoist the colors on a Wednesday.
It's time to soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota. Summer is here with hot deals on a great selection of new Toyotas, like a Corolla, $189 a month, or Tacoma, $279 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt & Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt & Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville, we've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
The sun is out, and so are the deals at Greenville Toyota. Soak up the savings on a hot selection of new Toyotas, like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $289 a month. Soak up the savings at Greenville Toyota.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color, and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
ECU Athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Final segment here. Final few minutes of the show. We got James Giglio hanging on. We got Philip Pilkington back in 94.3 The Game studios. A quick comment from Jay on Facebook. We were having the running back discussion earlier. He says it's time for TJ Engelman to be running back one, averaging 5.1 yards per carries. Like the way he can hide behind our lineman until he hits the hole like Junior Smith used to. So Jay wants TJ Engelman to get a shot at running back one. Just want to bring that up. All right, James Giglio, your New York Jets. I mean, they had more sack yards given up than passing yards against the Denver Broncos. Aaron Glenn said that there's no shot that he's benching Justin Fields. But, I mean, like, what are they doing? Denver's pass rush is legit, but what is going on with your Jets, man? Like, what's the answer?
I mean, it's just dysfunction, top to bottom. I mean, there's no words at this point. The more weeks that go by, the more I'm thinking Aaron Glenn is not going to be the coach next year. Potentially our GM is going to get fired. I just no words right now. If we go 0-3 in this next stretch, we got Panthers, Bengals, Browns. If we don't get a single win in this next three stretch, I think for sure he'll be gone. It's just there's nothing you can even do to fix this team. Garrett Wilson's now out, so our receiving core is now the worst in the league with him out. Our defense has been terrible all year, even with Aaron Glenn being the best defensive coordinator in the league potentially last year. And it's just Justin Fields is terrible. I mean, he has like the internal clock of a sundial. He does not know when pressure's coming. And the Broncos pass rush is good, like you said. The Jets, but the thing is, the Jets offensive line is really not that bad this year. Like, they're pretty healthy. I mean, they lost Elijah Vera-Tucker, who's really good, but he gets hurt every year. I mean, their offensive line has not been bad. Fashanu on the O-line from Penn State, and the guy they just drafted from Missouri, they've been good this year, and they've been good. Fashanu was good last year. So it's just Justin Fields doesn't know when to throw it. We're going to trade Breece Hall. Garrett Wilson's hurt. This season's over. Next season's over. We need something. We need a send from God or something, because right now I have no hope for literally anything.
The crazy thing about what you're saying there, James, everything is spot on, but you've still been in a lot of one-score games. Like, as bad as it's been, like, I don't know if teams are just playing down to you, but it's not like you're getting blown out.
We got blown out by Buffalo, but Buffalo's Buffalo. But, I mean, yeah, you're right. It's just like the Buccaneers game, like I knew that last second field goal was coming. I mean, we had net negative 10 passing yards in the game versus Denver. Net negative 10. It's just you're just never going to win a football game that way. 3 field goals and a safety, and the safety was from holding in the end zone.
Yes. Yep. All right. In 20 seconds, James. Who's won the World Series?
The Los Angeles Dodgers. They're the best team. Their starting pitching rotation is unbelievable. Shohei Ohtani hasn't even hit full form yet, and I think he's starting to come around. So, Dodgers are going to sweep the Brewers, and I think they're going to take care of the Mariners in 5 or 6 games.
I can't disagree with you. If Seattle gets there, it'd be a tall task to take down the Dodgers, but we'll see what happens. James, we're out of time, man. We'll try to get your video working next time, but either way, we appreciate you hopping on, man.
Of course, love hopping on. I'll see what was wrong with my headphones.
We'll figure it out for next time. Jets, by the way, I'm calling Jets over Panthers on Sunday. Philip, appreciate you.
It was fun. Thanks, James.
Yep.
We will be back tomorrow, 12 noon for Hoist the Colors, and then pregame show for ECU Tulsa, 4 to 6:30 tomorrow evening. So long day of coverage. We'll have it for you here, 94 through the game, starting at 12 noon. We will see you then on game day.